Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we'll talk about all things Disney,
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in news and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when Sleeping Beauty had the only castle.
This is episode 35, This or That, Disneyland versus Walt Disney World.
Or, it's attraction versus attraction, show versus show, and coast versus coast. Let the games begin. May the churros be ever in your favor.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 35 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're doing another edition of This or That. But this time, we're not doing park versus park or food versus food. We're doing coast versus coast. This is Disneyland versus the Walt Disney World Resort.
Which, I mean, kind of is park versus park.
Well, it is park versus park.
Bit, but just on a grander scale.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's 4 parks versus 2 parks, and anyway, yes. This is going to be interesting.
We're going to get a little nitpicky here. So we've done some This or That episodes in the past. We enjoy doing these ones.
These are fun.
They're so much fun. In the past, we've used them to sort of create a perfect day at a park, which we will continue to do because they're a lot of fun to do. But in this one, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to get very granular, very specific, and we're going to pit one version of one thing against a similar version of that thing.
Yeah, so we're going to try to do as much or as close to apples versus apples as we can here.
Right.
So apples to apples, oranges to oranges, Orange County to Orange County.
If you will.
If you will.
Actually, even if you won't.
And that's true. Very good point. Sue, being our lead person here on all things topic, it has a list of things that we've kind of put together. And so she's going to be our chief head person on this or that. And
Woohoo. So we're just going to jump on in. We probably know what each other's going to say on most of these because we travel together a lot. But we want to use this as a tool to sort of explain why we make the choices we make on the regular. Like when we're planning a trip, we choose if we're going coast or coast. So, all of these kind of factor into that.
Yeah, I jokingly at one time when we were talking about this said, hey, Orlando MCO versus Los Angeles LAX wasn't even a close. It's going to be LAX, of course.
No, that's not even funny.
No, LAX. LAX. I'm sorry, LAX sucks. It's going to be...
Number 1 tip, never fly into LAX unless it's your only choice.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
For Santa Ana SNA. All right, so let's jump right in. Sue, what's the very first this or that?
Our very first this or that is going to be... I feel like there should be a drum roll or something. I don't know. Just imagine a drum roll here. It'll be good.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we're going to jump in with a very topical one this time of year. Haunted Mansion Magic Kingdom versus Haunted Mansion Disneyland.
Ooh. Well, okay. So Haunted Mansion Disneyland, being the original, has the smaller facade, and it has the overlay during the off-season, which is now actually not the off-season anymore. It's now Halloween season. It's actually more crowded during Halloween than it is the end of summer now.
Well, and last year that overlay went all the way into January.
That's right. Oh, my heavens. If you're not familiar with that, Disneyland's Haunted Mansion does an overlay starting in August and running through January, I guess, now, for The Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. And supposedly on the list of people's names in the attic sequence that the snake is eating, supposedly down in the crease is my name.
They did a lot of cast members who worked at Mansion, correct?
I did work at Mansion. But here's the thing. I love the Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom at Liberty Square. I love the facade. I love that little Leota is on the attraction. I love the addition of the Escher Room. So in this case, even though I'm a diehard Mansion ex-cast member lead trainer at Disneyland, I'm picking Walt Disney World.
That's a bold statement.
It is. So what about you?
Okay, here's the thing. I love both of course. Disneyland was the one that I grew up being fearful of and have since migrated to being fearful of the one in Florida. So there's that. Facade versus facade. I love the New Orleans style.
The old antebellum look.
To me, that is Haunted Mansion. And that's the one that Walt wanted. So that means something. However, I also enjoy the Escher Room. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that the queue is interactive, even though I could never figure it out.
That's a definite if you know queue, and we don't know.
I am going to have to go with Disneyland, however, because that's where the Hatbox Ghost lives.
Well,
I know he's migrating. I know he's becoming part of Florida. But which one did Andy paint?
That's true. Our friend Imagineer Andy Hammer did the set design and the painting for the Hatbox Ghost. And so that's Disneyland.
So how can I not pick that? Well, it's the best.
I guess we're just going to have to decide to disagree on this one.
You can't go wrong either way. It's a classic.
All right, so now we're going to go mountain versus mountain.
Ooh.
Matterhorn or Everest. So this is Yeti versus Yeti.
Yeti versus Yeti. White Mountain versus White Mountain. Oh, man. Okay. I mean, visually, if we're just talking about looking at the attraction, Matterhorn is an icon of the park.
Right.
It's the only park that it exists in. Everest, Expedition Everest, is a mind-blowing attraction. I love the coaster aspect. It feels way more coastery, even though they both are.
More Costa Rican, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that works.
Coasterifications.
Coasterish.
Coasterish.
But I also get slightly nauseated when it shoots you backwards. I don't enjoy that. But you need a chiropractor getting out of Matterhorn. So, you know what? Once again, I've got to let nostalgia take over. I have to go with Matterhorn. I love the changes that they made in the recent years. Adding all the stuff as you're going up that first lift. Adding a very interactive Harold. Like, he was not... When we were growing up, he was like eyeballs and a static figure. And now he, like, lunges at you. So I'm going to give it to Matterhorn.
Matterhorn, great.
Where are you going?
Well, it does come down to Harold versus Betty.
Yes.
It really does.
And just to clarify, Harold is the abominable snowman who lives in the Matterhorn. That is his name. And Betty the Yeti is in Expedition Everest.
That is right. That is
otherwise known as Disco Yeti.
I love both attractions a lot. Matterhorn, again, I grew up on that attraction. That was one of the first coasters I ever was able to ride. And I was there first season for Betty the Yeti and Everest when it actually did lunge at you. So this is a tough one. And I think it comes down to the way I feel when I ride the attraction. It hurts to ride Matterhorn, but there's enough back support and everything now that they've gone to the single seats that it's actually, I think, easier to ride, say, than maybe something like Space Mountain or something like that at Magic Kingdom.
True.
Because you can see the track. And Everest does the same thing to me. When you start to go backwards, I get a little nauseated. So I'm going to have to give this one to the Matterhorn as well. And I think a lot of it just comes down to nostalgia feeling again, too, on that. Because it was the one we grew up with.
I think that plays a big part of it.
Yeah, even though World is our current resort of choice when we go, I think Matterhorn beats out Everest.
That is fair. I think we both chose the same one on that one.
Sorry, Betty.
She'll get over it.
She's
got lots of fans.
That's true.
Well, while we are over in that area of the park, why don't we switch to a different style ride? And we're going to say Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom versus Indiana Jones at Disneyland.
Oh, okay. This one doesn't really even stack up for me. I was there again when the opening for Animal Kingdom was, so CTX, or Countdown to Extinction. That version to me was superior to Dinosaur, which is based after the movie that nobody saw, Dinosaur. And
there actually was a Disney animated called Dinosaur, not the Pixar Good Dinosaur, but It exists. People don't even know that it's a thing anymore.
Yeah, and it's rightly so. It was not a great film.
It wasn't, but it was better than Good Dinosaur.
But that said, I'm a huge sucker for Indiana Jones. And again, I worked in California. Was there when the testing was going on with Imagineering. Hey, Dave, if you're listening, Dave Durham from Imagineering, hi. So for me, Indy is got to be the superior of the two. Now, they are the same track design, the same vehicle design. They do have different, of course, motion and different everything else as far as theming. But I'm a sucker for Indy. The Indy attraction at Land is just one of the best overall attractions anywhere. It's been replicated in Tokyo, at Tokyo Disney Sea. Little different in the theming, but it's still Indy, and it's still the ride vehicles bouncing up and down stairs and around corners, and I absolutely love that attraction. So when it comes to Dino versus Indy, it's Indy all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go full force agreement with you on this one. Dino is skippable to me. I know it's like the original thrill ride over at Animal Kingdom, and it has a rabid fan base. People who love it, really love it. Totally get that. I'm convinced that those people have never been on Indiana Jones. Because, like you said, it is a very, very similar experience in the ride vehicle, in the track, in the motion that you can produce within that ride vehicle. It's really amazing. But overall, there is no comparison. Indiana Jones is all the way. It's the best. It's one of my favorite attractions.
And if we're talking Dr. Seeker versus Indy, oh, come on.
That's no test.
It's got to be Indy. All right, we're going to go back to Space Mountain this time, but we're going to go Space Mountain to Space Mountain this time. So this one's a little different because the two Space Mountains in Florida and California are actually two completely different types of roller coaster. One's a very narrow gauge and Matterhorn bobsled style, and the other one is side by side. So how does that affect your choice? Space Mountain Magic Kingdom or Space Mountain Disneyland?
Oh man. Okay, this is tough. Both of them hurt me. Both of them are haunted.
Big time. Wait for our Halloween episode.
Yeah. I enjoy the side-by-side element more than I do the stacking in front of each other. I like that I guess they both kind of do a Halloween overlay.
They do, yes.
Can I choose Paris?
So space versus space versus space, but then we have to throw in space Tokyo and space Hong Kong. But
the one in Paris goes upside down.
Yes, it does. But and
you get to shoot at TIE fighters?
Disneyland versus Disney World.
Okay.
Space versus space.
Okay, I'm going to have to go with Florida overall. It is the original, so it gets some points for that. It's one of the few attractions that actually started in Florida before it came to California.
True.
So, I mean, points for that. It needs an overhaul. It needs a big time overhaul. But overall, I'm going to have to say Florida.
Florida. I love listening to the Star Tunnel music on either one of those apps that we just talked about in a previous episode or on YouTube because it's very just soothing. That sounds like stormtroopers firing stuff in slow motion.
There actually is on one of those apps.
That's the one I listen to. I like that. However, California's is actually rideable to me, and I love it. I know the track. I can literally, as we get off the lift, go, okay, here we go, left, right, down, wee, here we go. Whereas at Magic Kingdom, I'm more like, ow, 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 ow. And then trying to get it, I had to almost literally crawl out of the vehicle last time because my back hurt so bad from riding Space in Florida. So, again, I think hands down for me, for rideability, it's going to be Space in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Now, I love Florida's, and we're going to definitely ride it for the Christmas party when we go because we want to see the Christmas music overlay. However, I think just putting up side by side, Disneyland wins.
I think we all just have to agree that there is no good way to get out of those vehicles, and you just need to make your way out any way you can.
I'm thinking a forklift would be good.
Seriously, yeah. It's bad. Like they need to get their game together.
Yeah. Disney, are you listening? Retrack Space Mountain.
Oh, please.
But this time,
please.
A new track. Not just a new track, but design a new track. There we go. I've said it. I'm off my high horse. I was getting a nosebleed up there.
Oh my. All right, let's move to something a little more user-friendly.
Okay.
So now we're going to also pit the same attraction versus the same attraction on both coasts, and we're going to Adventureland or Jungle Cruise.
Ooh, Jungle to Jungle, which was a Tim Allen film, actually.
I believe it was.
It was, yeah. That's a good one. Now, again, I'm going to drop a thing here. I was a Jungle Cruise skipper. I'm very, very proud of that fact.
Now, as a Jungle Cruise skipper, why don't you inform us on the differences between the two? Because there's not a ton. You get a lot. You still get the backside of water. You still get the guys climbing the pole. Like, you still get the basic things that you think of for Jungle Cruise. So tell us what the differences are.
Well, the scenes are a little out of order. In Florida, they also have a show building that you go through. And that actually is one of the largest differences. They both have Schweitzer Falls. They both have the elephant pool. They both have the hippos. They both have the gorilla camp. So the basics are still there on both coasts. Florida has the kind of the original outpost-looking queue, whereas California used to have just the thatched roof, double switchback thing that they had for years. Now has a beautiful two-story queue. And so if I'm looking at side-by-side here, well, that's a toughie. I love the jungle. But however, that's where I got my one written. Yeah, if you're listening, Larry Camel, thanks for that one. Anyway, oddly enough, I'm going to keep this one at Disneyland as well. I love Florida's jungle, but the line is always so stupid long, all day long.
It's true.
And it's just not an air-conditioned queue. So if I'm going to stand in that long line with just some fans on me, I prefer to do it in Disneyland. Where I
that is fair.
Do it with a Dole Whip in my hand. I probably could do that in Florida too, but I'm just going to go.
They're both accessible.
They're so close to each other in my love that I just have to almost roll the dice on this one. And I think it's because I was a jungle skipper in California, I have to stay true to Disneyland on this one.
That's fair.
But I love
totally
Florida's.
Fair. And I am going to do Florida because of that show building. I love going through the ruins and the big old tiger in there with his glowing eyes, and not so much the snakes. I could do without the snakes, but I love the addition of going through those ruins. So I'm going to have to give it to Florida just for that.
Yeah, it's like I said, for me, it's so close, and I would normally probably give it to Florida for that, but it comes down to what hits me in the feels, and it's
absolutely.
It's land, so.
I would have been disappointed had you not chosen it.
I think any old cruise skippers would probably give me some grief for that, too. All right, let's look at two rides that have the same ride system, but different themes. So for this one, we're going to look at the original Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at the studios versus the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which is the Tower of Terror at Disney California Adventure in California. Which one's it going to be?
Okay, this is hard. I am old enough to have watched Twilight Zone in its day. Well,
we still
as
record
reruns,
it.
so we still watch it.
Yeah, it's still on our TiVo.
And Twilight Zone was a big influence on me as a kid. The way of thinking, of embracing the weird and the unexpected twists, I love that. I live for that in storytelling. Love Rod Serling. I really love the whole vibe. I like that there's original props in the show buildings. Tower of Terror it's amazing. However, I'm going to lose some friends right here. Sorry, Steph. Okay, Mission Breakout at DCA. The changes that they made to that ride, the overlay of imposing Guardians characters on that is one of the best rides ever. It is so much fun. I giggle non-stop in that ride, and when you have to raise your hands and show Rocket your human hands so that you can get to the next level, and I get absolutely giddy just thinking about that ride. So I'm going to have to go Mission Breakout. As much as I love the original Tower of Terror, and I love the one in Florida because you actually do move out of the elevator shaft, which is the only one that you do that on. I love that. However, I have to go with Mission Breakout.
Mission Breakout, I'm not even going to slow down on that same thought. Mission Breakout gets it for me too. I love the original tower. And you're right, it's the only one that has the forward or the individual motion of the ride vehicles to go between towers. However, you are correct. Rocket is what does it for me. Rocket is one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. And the fact he's an animatronic and that actually steals Quill's Walkman from when you're in the queue in the pre-show.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, in the pre-show, at the very, very, very end of the pre-show, Rocket reaches in and steals the Walkman. So if you've already left the room and you're already going to work your way to the line, you're going to miss it. So make sure you stick around to see that part.
Yeah, hang back just a little bit just to see that. It is so much fun with the music in the shafts, too. Because, again, it's music that we grew up on, being from the 70s and the 80s. The first time we rode that, I didn't even know what to expect. And we got Free Ride. And I love that song. And the mountains are high, the valley is low. The vehicle motion matched that. It went up when it said valley is high, went down said the valley is low. And I giggled like a little kid. And because of that, it's such a brilliant overlay. Now, that said, the actual Twilight Zone version that I like the best is the one in Disneyland Paris, because the little girl ghost is a poltergeist in that one.
She beckons you to follow them.
She is truly frightening.
And she literally says in the ride, she says,
Ils savent que vous êtes là. Quoi qu'il arrive, ne criez pas. They know you're here. Whatever you do, don't scream.
And it is terrifying.
Yeah, it's great. And when you're not expecting it, too. It's just,
yes.
It was like, she's still here. Wait a minute, she's talking. What's going on? And then, of course, Tokyo's at Disney Seas has the High Tower. So it's part of SEA. It was part of the High Tower hotel chain, I guess. I don't know. And it's a whole different, it's not Twilight Zone. It's a whole different storyline.
Yeah, it's got its very own over there, which is very, very cool. All right, let's hop back over. You know what? No. Let's stay right where we are.
Well, okay.
We're going to now pit Guardians versus Guardians.
Oh, this one's going to be tough.
So this is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout in DCA, which is the Tower of Terror ride, versus the brand new Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot, which is the free spinning roller coaster.
You're just being mean now.
Yes,
my
it's
heavens. True. All right, so this one's going to take some talking out, because like I said, I love Tower of Terror with Guardians because of Rocket.
Yes.
However, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is one of the best coasters ever designed. It's absolutely intoxicating as a ride.
And again, a ride that you giggle all the way through.
You do.
You can't help it.
And it's got the music. So they both have the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. They both have the music. They both have the fun motion. The difference is one is a tower ride and one is a coaster. Well, here's the thing. I'm a coaster junkie.
Yeah, you are.
So, Epcot, you win. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind beats Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Wow. I honestly did not know which way you were going to go with that one.
I didn't either until just now.
That's why you had to talk it out,
exactly.
Reason it out. I am going to stick with Mission Breakout at DCA. Like I said, it is literally one of my favorite attractions ever. It is so much fun. I do want to give another try to Cosmic Rewind and try your trick of facing forward and not following the motion of the ride.
Keeping your head facing towards the motion of the train,
right, not the
looking
scenes.
at the scenes.
Yeah, I want to try that because it really is a fun coaster. And even when I got off feeling floopy, it was still fun. So I want to give it another shot, but I have nothing but fun on Mission Breakout. Start to finish giggles. So I've got to go with that one.
All right. Well, we're going to be looking down from that attraction now to our left, and there's a lovely Radiator Springs area with an attraction that looks kind of like one at Epcot. So we're going to be putting up ride system versus ride system that are similar. So this is going to be Radiator Springs Racers at California Adventure versus Test Track at Epcot. Now, they are different rides, but they have the exact same ride system.
And the same potential.
For
Which is the part that makes me a little angry. Because this is not even a thing, because Test Track it's themed on testing a car,
Right.
putting it through its paces before it gets made. However, Radiator Springs Racers has an actual theme based on a Pixar movie that is beloved, and it is so much fun. It's so much fun. It's got so much personality, and you're actually racing. So there's another car beside you, and you have the different scenes that you go through. You get to tip over the tractors with Mater, and you get to have new tires with Luigi, and I mean,
Pit stop?
it's so fun. And the beautiful scenery everywhere. Oh my gosh, just the look of Radiator Springs Racers is stunning. I have to go Radiator Springs Racers. It's not even a question.
I'm not even going to say anything because what Sue just said is exactly my feeling. I love the original concept of Test Track. I love the fact that as far as the ride system goes, that you're in a car that is semi-autonomous and that it can be out on the track going very, very quickly within a very long zone, I guess, if we're talking ride to ride here. But Radiator Springs Racer is just the next generation of that. And
Yes.
it is done so much more brilliantly with part dark ride, part fast, like Test Track does.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for an actual IP that I love. I love cars. And so looking at the IP, which is nothing at Test Track, there's no intellectual property that exists there. It's just...
Which isn't a requirement for a good ride.
No, and I do like rides that are unique,
Yes.
that actually have a unique story to tell. However, in this case, it's Radiator Springs Racers all the way.
Definitely. That ride is good enough that I could almost forgive them for calling it Cars Land.
I know. Come on, Disney, Cars Land. At least
Route
it would...
66, Radiator Springs are both built right in there. Pick one. They went with Cars Land.
Yeah, and
Come on.
Route 66 is actually the area of what used to be the Paradise Pier area over there, where Jumpin' Jellyfish, Golden Zephyr, and what used to be Mulholland Madness is. But it's been so much rethemed now that it's not really following that theme, so moving that over and calling Route 66 over there would have been perfect.
Absolutely. Or Radiator Springs
Yeah.
would have worked as well. So,
Oh, well.
oh well. So we are going to, let's stick with Pixar Pier,
Okay.
since you bring up DCA. And let's go Incredicoaster versus Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh.
So this is Incredicoaster, which used to be California Screamin' at Disney California Adventure, versus Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith over at Studios.
Or Avec Aerosmith, as they had it
Aerosmith.
at Studios in Paris. Okay, well, again, I operated that coaster. The Incredicoaster is the same track as California Screamin'. I adore that track. I adore that coaster. However,
Ooh.
I love Aerosmith.
Yes.
I love the old classic 70s rock. The fact that they did Love in a Roller Coaster on that
That was pretty brilliant.
is brilliant. I love a good Vekoma looper like they've got there. However, again, I'm taking another however here. I'm going to however myself to death today. It's going to hit me in the feels on this one. So I'm going to go with Incredicoaster. Now, I do love the Incredibles theme as well. So, and there's something about the track design though for California Screamin' / Incredicoaster that I do like above Rock and Roller Coaster. Rock and Roller Coaster has not aged as well of a coaster track, I think, and they still don't have the new trains that they should be putting on that coaster, so the restraints are clunky and just not great. So I'm going to go with Incredicoaster.
Okay. I am also going to go with Incredicoaster on this one. I do love Rock and Roller Coaster. I also enjoy riding a fast-paced ride to Aerosmith. That is so much fun, especially with that double, what do you call that, barrel roll?
It's a bat wing or a boomerang at the
It's
very
fun.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
The double loop structure, basically. Yeah.
Love that. And really, really like the launch on Rock and Roller Coaster. I love the countdown and the anticipation and the fact that you can see it and nothing else of the ride. I think that's kind of fun. But I have to give it to Incredicoaster. When they first rethemed California Screamin' to Incredicoaster, I was a little upset because it didn't need it. California Screamin' was a really fun boardwalk coaster which is exactly what it was supposed to be. But when they did add Incredibles in there, it only made it better. And I never saw that coming. It is so much fun. If you've never been on it, I recommend riding it at night. You can really see those added elements in there when you ride it later at night after dark. But yeah, it's fun anytime. And again, the launch with Dash was just brilliant. That was so smart.
And I love at the end where you see the giant Jack,
Yes.
and then you walk right out and Jack's cookie Num Nums are right there. I think
You gotta love that.
really,
Brilliant
really good.
marketing.
Brilliant marketing.
And they're delicious. So get a Jack cookie Num Num and share it with your entire party because they're super rich.
Well, we're going to stay in the same vein and go coaster to coaster again.
Uh-oh.
Coast to coast, coaster to coaster. Thunder versus Thunder. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at Disneyland, the original, or Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at Magic Kingdom.
Okay, and again, you won't let me choose Paris, which is clearly the best option.
Oh, heavens, yes. Thunder Paris is the best, but that's not in our choices today.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Guess we need to do a Paris episode.
Yeah, wait till we talk about pirates.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, grew up riding the one at Disneyland, so it holds a place in my heart. But now, Florida is the more frequent option. I like the queue in Florida. I like that it's a little bit interactive and you've got some stuff going on. Disneyland, I like that it has the little bridge and you can make a wish. I'd never like to pass up an opportunity to make a wish, throw a little penny in there. But I'm going to have to go with Disneyland.
Wow, okay. I didn't see that coming.
Because goat chewing dynamite and the special effects in the cave that they've updated, or in the cavern, you can't compare that. They need to do something similar in Florida because it is really, really good.
And you took the words again right out of my mouth. Again, I operated California's. I wore the hat and the boots, but Florida's has the extra little tumbleweed section where you go through kind of that trick track.
Oh, that's true. That is fun.
And
that is a lot of fun, actually.
I just love the location right on the river, whereas California sits a little bit further back. But it's California all the way on this one. It's got Dynamite Goat. It's got the enhanced sea lift effects. It's just got the original feel of Tony Baxter all over it.
It does, but enhanced. Like those upgraded things that they did to it recently just made it better. They didn't take any of that original feel away.
California wins again.
It does. We'll have to do a little tally at the end and
Yeah.
see what happens. So while we're comparing apples to apples, let's go ahead and compare Pirates to Pirates.
Oh, this isn't even this is a joke, right? Pirates California versus Pirates Florida. Oh, come on.
Yes.
Anybody who's ever been on both knows Pirates California blows it out of the water. Fire at Will!
Which one's
Fire
Will?
at Florida. Poor Will, I know.
I'm still convinced that that's why they named Will Turner Will Turner, is because of the fire at Will.
I have no doubt. But yeah, California's has the shorter queue. I love the queue in Florida. I love the Florida queue. But again, being a pirate from California myself, I have to give it to California for a ton of reasons. Nostalgia factor, first of all. It's the original and one that Walt actually worked on and used to walk around in the construction area down there for that, which
I love
just is a great story. But it just gives it that little personal Disney touch that I love. And it has 2 drops instead of 1.
That's a huge thing.
It doesn't
really
have the poorly misaimed run out on the drop. I hate that on Pirates in Florida. Head down that drop and then all of a sudden, bam, it goes to the left really quick. Did they not have good design back then for designing the flume? It's like they missed or something when they were trying to put the flume in straight. Misaligned it. I don't know. Anyway, I love both Florida and California Pirates because of the theme. California wins, but again, I know what Sue's about to say about Paris on this one.
Well, I mean, Paris is the natural winner. Paris wins because of the storytelling element. They actually get the sequence of the story in a way that it makes more sense. However, since we're just comparing apples to apples and we're only comparing Florida to Disneyland, I am also going to go Disneyland because Florida feels like Pirates Light. Like you get all of the highlights, but none of the special things. I do enjoy the Florida queue, but you get the Disney water smell immediately in Pirates Disneyland, which I enjoy. So overall, definitely going to give it to Disneyland on this one.
All right, let's throw you a curveball.
Uh-oh.
We're going to stay with Pirates Disneyland, but let's this time compare it to Epcot. The only attraction there that's even close in theme, or not in theme, sorry, in ride system, again, we're looking ride system to ride system this time, is Pirates Disneyland versus Frozen Ever After at Epcot. Both are family attractions.
Yes.
Just a small drop. and
Interesting.
our IP-driven stories. Which one do you think does it better?
+1's at Epcot, which automatically earns points for me. Oh man, that is a hard one. Okay, so I love Pirates for all the reasons I just talked about, but Frozen, it's a unique attraction. It's only at Epcot, and there's something special about that. I love the Frozen IP. I love the sister story. I love Olaf. Sven with his tongue sticking on the iceberg.
This one's a toughie.
It is a tough one. It feels like going old school versus new. All right, I'm going to have to give it to Pirates. I have to. Just nostalgia. Pirates at Disneyland is basically my favorite Disney ride. So I have to.
I'm about to make a lot of Disney cast members, Disneyland cast members, West Side cast members, very angry with me.
What are you doing?
I love Pirates California. It was my first attraction as a cast member. I love it. Know the show building inside and out. But if we're looking at story to story, Pirates is great. It's timeless. It's been around forever. It's spawned a whole movie franchise. But the one scene in Frozen Ever After, where you start backwards and she goes into Let It Go, I don't really tear up on attractions very much. I mean, they don't really hit me that hard usually, except for nostalgia, except for that one scene in Frozen Ever After.
That
the first time I
point.
saw that with that, the motion perfectly synced with the music and an amazing animatronic, although I see the animatronics going into the versions overseas are going to be much better.
Yeah.
However, it's because it's now going to be hit me in the feels versus nostalgia. I got to go with my feels. I love Frozen Ever After. I enjoyed it when it was Maelstrom.
Yes.
I really
agreed.
did. It's a short ride, but it was fun. It's a unique ride system. It has the forward motion. It's got the little drop, which is fun. I'm sorry, Pirates. I love you. It's not you, it's me. I'm going with Anna and Elsa and Frozen Ever After at Epcot.
That is bold. I did not expect that. Well done.
Well,
yeah, that moment.
We'll see what the fallout is on this one. They're going to take my pirate card.
If that one moment is spectacular. It's true. All right. Let's go. Let's keep comparing apples to apples. Let's do Splash versus Splash.
This one's going to be tough because I worked Splash at Disneyland, and it was a hoot and a half to work. I loved working Splash. Loved the attraction. I did get to work guest control for the one in Florida, actually, for one day. So that was kind of fun. However, when I'm doing apples to apples on this, Walt Disney World Splash Mountain wins out. I do not like the straddle the log type ride vehicle at Disneyland. I really do like the side-by-side at Walt Disney World. Florida's is that just perfect roll over the top and down and splash. I just ride to ride. I'm going to have to go with Walt Disney World on this one again. Sorry,
again,
West Side.
I am surprised. I'm going to have to join you over at Disney World on this one, too.
Wow, okay.
Splash Mountain Disneyland was, of course, my first one because it was the first one. I remember waiting in anticipation, peeking through the little holes in the construction walls to see how it was coming along. It was a great, great ride. I love a good log ride, but I agree with you. Side by side is so much better. No one wants to straddle the person in front of them. No one wants to. Stop it. Stop constructing rides like that. So side by side wins out. And there was a scene in Florida's version that had the little video projection of them going over the hill. It had the three Breres, Brer Fox, Brer Bear, Brer Rabbit going over the hill of the little projection. Doesn't mean anything, but it always made me smile. And there aren't that many differences, so ride vehicle and that tiny little scene, I'm going to give it to Florida.
Yep, I'm there with you.
And I'm going to miss Splash Mountain, but I'm looking forward to Tiana.
Me too.
Can't wait to compare those in a future episode.
That's right. Very good.
All right. What's next for us?
Well, we're going to look at show to show now. This one's going to be a little difficult. This is Fantasmic at Disneyland, which is currently down under rehab because poor Murphy caught on fire.
Poor Murphy. A little
Bye,
moment
Murphy.
of silence for the dragon.
Versus Fantasmic at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So just show building to show building. Let's compare that because Disneyland doesn't have one. just gather around the river, which is both good and bad because you can find a seat wherever you want to, but sometimes you just can't find a seat. Whereas Disney World, at the studios, they have its own space that they can allow you access to at the proper time. So that wins out. They also have the mountains built for it as opposed to using Tom Sawyer Island. Here's where it gets down to it. I'm going with Disneyland. Yes, nostalgia. I had every single word of that thing memorized. I used to be able to see the Scream of Fright moment from Hungry Bear when I was working the late shifts. There's some nostalgia there. But the moments that get it for me are the bubbles. The bubbles at Disneyland's version are contained and brief, and they make sense. The ones at Disney World, they throw in literally every character you've ever heard of and some that you can't remember. It's every character ever going by in a bubble, and it's silly, and it takes way too long. So because of that, and because of the rehearsal prop steamboat at the end, they use, I mean, come on. In Disneyland's version, you have the pirate ship, you have Columbia go by with Peter Pan, and then at the end, you get the full-size Mark Twain going by with every character, and it's so, so wonderful for the finale, as opposed to the tiny little thing that they built for the Florida version. So, Disneyland. Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say ditto. Yeah, everything you just said is 100% why I go with Disneyland on this one again. Wow, we're really Disneyland heavy on this one.
We are.
What happened?
I'm actually surprised. Why do we spend so much time in Florida?
I thought it was going to be the other way around, or at least half and half.
I really thought half and half, yeah.
Fantasmic was a show that I helped do guest control for, and it, again, has a good soft spot in my heart just because of that. However, Florida does have the theater, which is great because it's easier for guest control. But everything Sue said is exactly why I have to go with California's Fantasmic. I'm anxious to see what they do now that Murphy is rumored to not be coming back. It's going to be interesting to see what replaces the dragon.
That would be something
forward
crazy.
To that. But I love the Columbia and I love the Mark Twain. I don't love that it's in the middle of a land and is a pinch point. Used to be actually a dead end, and now, thank heavens, it's not. Thank you, Galaxy's Edge. You can actually go around there now. But I think just for nostalgia purposes and, again, show purposes, it's a better show, in my opinion, at Disneyland.
Agreed. So let's jump over to a whole different category and let's do hotels.
Ooh, okay.
So,
this is a curveball.
It is. So we're going to try to compare apples to apples as much as we can and go Disney Grand Californian, which is in California.
Right.
As the name would imply.
I think I know which one you're going with on the other side then.
We're going to go with Florida's Wilderness Lodge.
Uh-huh. So we're looking at National Parks Lodge versus National Parks Lodge.
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of. Disney's Grand Californian is an arts and crafts style hotel. And the Wilderness Lodge at Walt Disney World is based after the national parks. And I absolutely adore both of those. They both have the most grand lobbies of just about any of the hotels.
Just stunning.
I remember when DCA opened, and we went, actually I took Sue for her birthday, and we did a cast member premiere at both the park and the Grand Californian. However, Wilderness Lodge being out in the trees by itself there with the cabins and the geysers and the walkway over to the boat that you can take over to Magic Kingdom. See, I love Grand Californian because of its location with its own entrance into the park, and downtown Disney's right there, but it's still inside the city. If I'm in the Grand Californian on an upper level, I can look out and see other things in Anaheim. If I'm in the Wilderness Lodge and look out, I see geysers, I see trees, or I see lake. Wilderness Lodge is going to get it in this case. And that's a hard one for me because I am absolutely adoring the Grand Californian, but Wilderness Lodge gets it. And I think also Whispering Canyon versus like Napa Rose or some of the others. Whispering Canyon is such a great restaurant. It has that alone too, I think, pushes it over the edge for the Wilderness Lodge.
Wow. Okay. This is a tough one. One thing that I love about the lobby in Wilderness Lodge is that section where the water comes under.
Yes.
There's like a little bridge,
gosh.
and it actually flows out of the hotel.
I love that.
It's a really, really nice feature. However, I'm going to give this one to DCA, and I'm going to go with the Grand Californian. I love a hotel that's connected to a park. I think that is just so special and so unique. I love that. But I also love the fireplace that has the two sides, and you can sit outside in a rocking chair with a drink in your hand and put your feet up by the fire.
I love that. And it's one of those little hidden wonders of that hotel.
I almost hate to say it on here because a lot of people still don't know it exists.
That's true. That is very true.
But I'm not going to be the gatekeeper.
We're not going to tell you where it is. But just note that it's there, and we love it. So you're not allowed to find it. It's ours. It's
an absolutely incredible way to end a day in the parks. So just for that feature, and I love a hotel that overlooks the park. When Rod took me for my birthday that time, I had just come off of being really, really, really sick, and I was not feeling great. And we got up to the room and opened those curtains and looked out on DCA, on a completely unknown park, because we hadn't even entered into the park yet. Nobody had.
Brand new park. It was so amazing.
So that memory, so I might be leaning a little into nostalgia here, but that moment of getting to look out into the park was so phenomenal. So I'm going to have to give it to Grand Californian.
All right, we're going to end this with the lightning round.
Lightning round.
All right, we're going to do Land versus Land, Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland. Ready? Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland goes to Disney World.
The world? Really? Okay.
Because...
Why?
Because of the People Mover.
Oh, okay.
And because they put the stupid rocket thing that you spin around, the Dumbo rockets, they put them up instead of right in the middle of the walkway. Plus Purple Wall. Oh, and Purple Wall.
I'm going with Disneyland.
No,
but here's
not.
Why. I'm going with Disneyland when we were kids.
Okay.
So okay. Overall, year to year right now, if we're talking right now to right now, World would win. But
because of the People Mover, right?
Because of People Mover and because of Purple Wall. However, when we're looking at it overall for the history of both parks, Disneyland's Tomorrowland was a world on the move. Had the People Mover. It had the Space Mountain I loved. It had the Carousel of Progress, and then had America Sings.
I love America Sings.
It has the greatest Utopia ever. It had the subs. And it had the rocket jets up the top, which was where they should be.
That's where they're supposed to be, for sure.
And it had the circle visions we grew up with. I love America the Beautiful. And
yes,
I miss my Tomorrowland, or our Tomorrowland of the 1970s and 80s. So I'm giving this one to Disneyland.
But a Disneyland that doesn't exist anymore.
That is true.
So
that is true.
Today, it goes to Disneyland.
It would go to World, but overall, we're talking just land to land.
That's fair.
Disneyland gets it. Okay, Adventureland.
Adventureland, I'm going with Disneyland.
Land, okay.
And because Bengal Barbecue.
Oh, okay. That's intriguing.
Tropical Hideaway.
Very intriguing. Okay.
I also really enjoy the placement of Tiki Room. It's right as you come into Adventureland on your left, right behind the Dole Whip.
Right.
Or you can get the Dole Whip and take it into the Tiki Room with you. It feels like it's out of the way, kind of hidden, which, I don't know, there's something special about that. Like, you have to find it. And there's no spinning thing in your way again. There's no carpets.
Right, that's a good point.
So it just feels a little more adventure-y.
All right, mine is Walt Disney World.
No way.
It's because it's bigger. Adventureland, California is so stinking small, and coming from when I did guest control, Adventureland was the pinch point for everything we did. If it was Pirates, if it was Fantasmic, Indy, Jungle, didn't matter. It was always such a small area. Had the tiny little restrooms up front.
Yes, that is true.
And the music, the background music in Adventureland, Florida, Walt Disney World, is some of my favorite music of any land or zone music anywhere at a Disney resort. And Jungle Cruise Radio in the queue in Florida is better than California. So Disney World gets it on this one. All right.
I am surprised by that.
Frontierland.
Oh my gosh. Frontierland is so little. Like, what's even there? I'm going to have to do Disneyland because Big Thunder Mountain I like better at Disneyland.
Yeah, and for me, Frontierland in Florida is almost a throwaway land.
It absolutely
because Splash doesn't fit into the theme. It's almost like there's going to be a new New Orleans bayou area, and Frontierland is going to be Thunder Mountain, and that's it. But I also love Thunder placement in California when it comes to Frontierland better than Florida. I just said I like Thunder's Florida better because of the placement on the water. But when it comes to the overall land placement, I like Disneyland's because it's right there on the edge where the old mine train used to be. So, again, a little nostalgia factor there. And it's just bigger. I love walking in and seeing the Mark Twain and the Columbia.
Yes. Agreed.
All right.
Agree.
Fantasyland.
Fantasyland, I have 100% going to give this to Disneyland.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. There's more dark rides. I love a good dark ride. It has Alice, which I love. It has bits of castle everywhere, which I love. Well, I guess they both do that now. It doesn't have that stupid pinch point over by Florida's Small World and Pan.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have to squeeze through there with a billion children and strollers. And Small World. Small World at Disneyland is phenomenal and gorgeous and beautiful and so Mary Blair. And at Disney World, they hide it. You can't even see Small World until you're in the queue. So, for those factors alone, I'm giving it to Disneyland.
Great. Well, for me, I'm going to Disney World.
No way! There is no way you're choosing Disney World.
I am choosing Disney World. I love Disneyland, the updated version from '83 that is there now, so it's a little more village look instead of old carnival, or not carnival, but like festival look.
Right.
However, I love the new section they just built over with the mine train coaster for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes.
And I love Ariel's Under the Sea placement there on the backside. I love where they have Pooh and what they've done with the new Pooh queue. And matter of fact, we should do a new Pooh queue review one of these days. Old joke, still funny. And I love what they did with Dumbo Circus, with the two Dumbos, the dueling Dumbos, basically.
Yes, and the indoor queue that you don't have to wait in a queue.
When I'm looking at it from operation to operation in this case, not nostalgia to nostalgia, I'm going with Walt Disney World.
That is fair.
And here's the last one. This is going to be not as apples to apples. They're square to square. New Orleans Square to Liberty Square.
Ooh. Oh, my goodness. Okay, man. See, the look of both is so unique. I'm going to have to give this one to New Orleans Square, though. It is the only New Orleans... No, that's not true. There's one in Tokyo.
Yes, very small.
Yeah. I'm going to give this to New Orleans Square because the whole feel... I love when they bring out the live musicians who are playing the jazz. I love the whole feel of walking through those cobblestone streets, and it goes to New Orleans.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it. But for me, it's New Orleans Square.
I was going to say, there's no way. You surprised me with a couple of those, but there's no way you're not choosing New Orleans.
New Orleans Square is one of my absolute favorite lands of any park. I absolutely love everything about it, including the restaurants, the stores, the attractions. It's such a beautiful area. Even to this day, it lives up to what Walt wanted. And it was one of those areas that has the original Club 33, which we just talked about a couple episodes ago. And it has the original Pirates and the original mansions. Well, folks, that is our This or That. This, again, was not meant to hurt any feelings. Sorry, West Side.
Sorry, Stephanie.
Please let us know what your answers to any of these would have been down in the comments. We'd love to have you prove us wrong.
Maybe helped you make a choice of your own if you're choosing park to park. And I was actually surprised with how many choices I chose for the West Coast, because we tend to frequent the other ones. So that was a bit of a surprise even to me.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big shout out to our social media coordinator, Riley Piper, audio engineers Joey Humphrey and Paul Trett, and logo designer Evan Piper. Our theme music composer is Jason Patrick Rowan and is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. Don't forget to rate, review, like, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production. Thanks for joining us today on episode 35 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye. Whoa, okay. Oh man, that is a hard one. Okay, what I'm going to say is that we're going to pause and walk the dog.